How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to talk about a remake that I didn't know was happening until like about a month ago. And I'm kind of excited to cover it today. Now, the reason why I'm kind of pumped that this remake is happening is because it's a remake of a game that I haven't played since 2010, I think. The game came out in 2008. It's Dead Space 1, right? Now, they're going to be making a remake of Dead Space 1 in 2022. That's when they said that it's projected to release, fall of 22 to be more exact. But we're going to watch the trailer, and then we're going to go in a little bit into the trailer and compare it to what the original game was. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I want this video to be kind of short and concise, but I'm kind of excited. So let's jump into the trailer real quick, and then we're going to analyze both the original and then the trailer. Okay. So the trailer wasn't too long. It was about a minute and some change. And the reason why I think the trailer wasn't really extensive is because the game, it's already an existing game with a campaign and a story that's already pretty much set in stone. Since they are going to be picking up, obviously Dead Space 1, remaking the graphics and the shaders and everything that has to do with the visuals, all they really need to do is just Control V, Control C to the story and the campaign, and then there you go. You just gotta remold it to the newer updated engine with the newer graphics, and that's why I'm kind of pumped. The game was fantastic. It had a great storyline, at least I thought it did. Obviously there was 2 and 3 after it, Dead Space 2 and 3, and I didn't really get to play the third one. The second one was also pretty good. It's nice to see that they're gonna bring up an older title that had like a lot of replayability and just a lot of features that most of the games now are starting to bring into their games. So Dead Space 1 was probably the first game that I ever played that had the buildable weapon mechanics, which were you find parts within the game, you throw it onto like a buildable station, and then you kind of build your own weapon the way you want it, considering whatever the nodes had on the game, and then you could just follow your path and build your weapon, right? It was nice. It had a lot of customizability with the weapons itself. I don't really remember too much of the storyline or anything like that. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played the game. I think I played it in 2010, so it's definitely been a while for me, but it's nice to see that they're going to bring it back. I'm kind of hyped. When the game comes out, I'm probably going to pick it up and I'm going to stream it if I have the chance to do so. So I'm going to drop down my my Twitch link in the description. Shameless plug. No shame, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going to leave it down there. If you guys want to watch some of my other streams of other games, then go ahead and stop by. But if you're just looking to find out what Dead Space looks like, then you can wait until then. So the reason why I wanted to cover this game in particular, like I said, it's just a remake, but based off of the article that I read, obviously you can take this with a grain of salt. The Verge wrote this, not the most credible source for information, but I did watch the Twitch live stream that they had, which was more of like a Q&A, giving some insight on what the game could possibly hold as opposed to the original 13-year-old variant. So they mentioned that they wanted the game to be set apart from the original, but it wouldn't completely transform it. Basically, what I got from the interview and this the Verge article that I'm reading is that they're just going to be updating a few of the things that were wrong with the game initially. Now, I don't remember too many things being wrong with the game. I think at the time I was like 12 or something like that, so I didn't really care. I was just playing the game because I had a lot of gore. And that's another thing. They're gonna keep the same model, which is the gore, obviously the same storyline. You don't want to change too much on a remake or reboot and things like that. But I think what they're gonna do is just update the mechanics, which is the movement, because it was in space, right? Obviously, Dead Space, and there was a lot of zero gravity movement where you could just kind of float around, bounce off of walls. And like I said, I don't remember this being too much of an issue when I played it on the Xbox. Maybe those who were actually really like trying to critique the game and went back and replayed the game recently kind of noticed the flaws and a few other things that were wrong. So I think that's what they're trying to update and make it better for a 2022 reboot. But one thing that I did kind of pay attention to was that they mentioned that there are no microtransactions. And if you know, the game is made by EA. Most of their games are kind of plagued by it. You know, Battlefield, FIFA, and a few of the other titles that they make. It's just microtransactions up the ass. So that's kind of nice. It's a story-based game. I do realize how they could tie in microtransactions into the game and kind of just, I don't know, plague the game with unwanted just BS and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. And like I mentioned, they aren't really going to change too much of the story, but they did want to improve upon the original story because they said it's iconic, and kind of just tie into it and bring more lore into and stuff like that. But I don't know, it was kind of ambiguous. I didn't watch the whole thing. I had more important things to do, and I kind of skimmed through the Verge article. So based off of the entire story itself, it looks like they're going to be keeping like the core foundation, but it's nice to hear and see what they could do with it, considering that the original might have been missing a few pieces, like, I don't know, how did the outbreak start? Be a little bit more active in looking for Isaac's girlfriend, which is the main character in the game, and stuff like that. Like I said, I didn't want to cover it too much into too much detail. As you know, more information comes out, then I'll cover it a little bit more. But for the time being, I just thought it was interesting that they, out of nowhere, well, maybe not out of nowhere, maybe they've been working on it for a while, but this is the first I've heard of this. And they're gonna bring Dead Space. That's kind of sick. I'm kind of pumped to buy it. I'm tired of playing, you know, multiplayer games like COD and stuff like that. It's time that we get something a little bit different in a sense, even though it is a reboot. I'm kind of pumped to play it. I don't know. That's just me. That's just my opinion, but I definitely look forward to this game coming out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to transition a little bit away from the analysis I was doing on the game and what the potentials that it could hold after being developed, and we're going to compare the old gameplay with the new gameplay they released. The gameplay that I showed you in the trailer is going to be completely different from what I'm going to be using to compare both new and old versions. I think they released a full demo that somebody has up on YouTube. I'm going to leave the source down in the description if you guys want to watch the entire video. But for the most part, I'm going to be using two different videos, old and new, and we're going to see what the differences are and what the differences could be, right? And we're going to dive a little bit deeper on that. So, all right, let's move into that.
Dark corridors, and not only it's in engine, it's actually in game. And here's my boy Isaac. So that rig, that armor, it's not the original, it's a new one. It's still work in progress. It's gonna be improved a lot, but it gives a first taste at Isaac Clarke in the remake. And look, here we are.
Wow.
I mean, the lighting, everything looks phenomenal. The smoke.
It looks
This
so
is
good.
very much what we should be expecting at this point from next generation graphics.
It's really Dead Space, but like you never saw it, I think.
So it has been almost 13 years, you know, since the original game came out, the original Dead Space. Why is this remake happening now, and what exactly is this remake? Can you elaborate on that?
Based on the two clips that I used for the video, it's pretty clear to see the differences between old and new. I think the remake, the video wasn't really a best candidate because I don't know, the bitrate was kind of off. It was pulled from a live stream that they had on Twitch, and like I said, the bitrate was kind of so I don't know, it might not have been optimized for YouTube when they uploaded it or whatever happened when they actually put the video on there. But it's kind of hard to really tell the details, the finer details in the textures and things like that, like the metal suit, the fabric and things like that. But if you look at the newer one and compare it to the older one, you can tell that they used a newer engine for the lighting, for the fog, for a lot of that stuff that isn't in the old version, and that's pretty nice. You can actually tell the differences. But I'll try to find a better video and then do a second cover on this video later on maybe. But for now, I think this is probably like the best representation that I can get without picking apart somebody else's video that they put apart. But yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna wrap up my video. I think it's gone long enough. I think the video will be probably like 12-13 minutes, and that's pretty long. I don't want to make it any longer than that. And I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover based on both games and what can potentially be included in this game and how it can actually, you know, bring something new, even though it is something old, into the gaming market. But I don't know, most of these are just my opinions. I've played Dead Space 1, so I'm pretty excited. If you haven't played Dead Space 1, then if you play it, you might be introduced to something fairly new and might like it, or you might hate it. I don't know. The game's kind of tough to play and get through because it is a pretty tough horror game, but I don't know, I think that's what makes it special and unique, like they mentioned before in their article. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I have 2 other videos that I'm working on, and hopefully I can get them out in a timely manner if I have time. But yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna leave it off. Yeah, that's all I've got. So if you guys like the video, make sure to comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the game. If you've played it before, if you haven't played it, I'd definitely like to hear your guys' perspective. And yeah, that's all I've got. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.